unprecedented bottom of the 420th inning. So there's a crack in the bat. It's hit. He's running. He's rounding first. He's rounding second, completely ignoring third base. Oh, he's sliding head first into 69th base with Doug Mellard.
What it is, y'all? It's 69th base. I'm your host, Doug Mellard. This is the podcast where I rip into people like Skip Bayless and hold them accountable for all the dumb crap that comes out of their mouths about the sports world this week. Got a great show for you. My good pal, he's a repeat guest, David Huntsberger is on. We have an awesome time. We talk about the Cowboys losing, which is not fun for me as a Cowboys fan, but it is fun for me as a Skip Bayless hater because it has broken him. And he is beginning to backtrack, which is so fun to watch. Plus, I flat out bust him on some lies about all that. Also, the Tom Brady, is he declining debate rages on between Shannon and Skip. Colin Cowherd is still being petty with Baker Mayfield. Mike Tomlin is a hell of a coach. Plus, we make fun of the funniest, saddest Instagram post from Skip Bayless to date, which is saying a lot because he has made some dumb posts. But this one, oh my God, it's so weird. And I was so excited to share it with my guest, and we really had some fun with it. Plus, of course, we start new rumors about Skip Bayless as we do every week, and so far they've all been great. All of my guests that have done it, so funny. They're fantastic. No knock on theirs, but I just got to say, David's might take the cake, so get ready for it. It's so funny. Before we get into it, I want to thank everybody that came out to the shows. Me opening for Dan Cummins, everybody that came out to see Dan and I. It was such a good time. And thanks to everybody for liking the drill dough joke. That was a joke that was born here on the podcast. So thanks for everybody listening to the podcast that responded to the drill dough joke. I appreciated those that messaged me about it because that ended up making it to the stage because of that. And that's very helpful. So thanks for that. It's becoming quite a bit. It's a monster out there on and off stage. And for those of you, when I announced that I have the podcast in Tacoma, that were so excited and that screamed over how much they hated Skip Bayless when I said I had a podcast about Skip Bayless, thanks for finding me. If this is your first one or you're diving into a few previous episodes, thanks for joining. Nonetheless, let's party. It's going to be fun. And as always, before we really get into it, take a couple seconds, rate, review, subscribe. It just takes a couple seconds, and it's so helpful to help grow this podcast. Thanks for everybody that has done it so far. Oh, boy, guys, I just have to share something with you about last night. Last night, my wife and I had Indian food. I love Indian food. I had chicken madras, and I asked for it spicy. And sometimes when I call it in to go pick it up, they're like, you don't want it spicy, man. And I'm like, no. I can handle it. And I can. 9 times out of 10. But this was that 10th time. Because last night, I had been in bed for about an hour or two. And around 2 a.m., my stomach starts gurgling. It doesn't feel good. Something doesn't feel right. It feels like I'm going to shit and throw up. It's so bad. I go to the bathroom. It's not a fun time. I'm on there for a while. And I look at the clock, and I see that it's 2 a.m., and I think to myself, 2 a.m., it just popped into my head that this is when Skip Bayless gets ready to go to work. He posts about it all the time on Instagram, a picture of his clock at 2 a.m., and he just brags that he's like such a grinder, you know? Meanwhile, I was a grinder at that moment, that very moment, just grinding one out, so much out, and I thought about those posts, like that 2 a.m., I was like, it's 2 a.m., that's when Skip's getting up right now. But then I thought, what I'm doing is far more productive than what Skip is doing to prepare for the 4 opinions that he has. You know, like Dak Prescott is good, Tom Brady is good, Aaron Rodgers is bad, LeBron James is bad. You know, like what I'm doing, I am pushing poison out of my body. What he is doing is putting poison out into the world. So, you know, it's just some fun thoughts I had at 2 a.m. on the toilet. I think the toilet's a appropriate place to think about Skip Bayless, you know? It all makes sense. Well, guys, just had to share that with you. Now, get ready. Here comes one of my favorite guests. All right, please welcome to the podcast once again one of my oldest, dearest pals, David Huntsberger.
Dearest,
Yeah.
you're a dear friend guy now.
what do you? What, that's,
When I first
bad?
moved to Los Angeles, I thought that was a gag people are doing, and they go, "One of my dearest friends," or "My dear friend." And I'm like, "What do you have? An extra from Murder She Wrote?"
Yeah, I guess
You're
that doesn't.
An old lady in a bridge club.
That's not normally how I say anything. I don't
I've
use
never
that
heard
language.
you refer to me as my dear friend.
What's funny is I was looking at I have my computer out and I was like kind of like getting ready for my notes and I realized I'm looking down to kind of get your intro ready as if I don't know who you are, you know, because sometimes I'll have a guest that I don't really know. And, but yeah, David Huntsberger, my dearest pal.
That seems like a sketch. Oh, sorry, I interrupted.
Oh
you.
no, just I was gonna go into Niners talk for a second.
Oh,
but,
hell yeah.
You're Niners. David's a huge Niners fan. And you guys are crushing it, dude. Oh, man, I was trying to text you from my flight back and from Tacoma this weekend. I was just trying to get in on like, oh, man, you must be having a lot of fun or not any fun during that game. It was such a shootout, but it was every time I looked up. On the plane, there were two options, Niners and Saints, which was epic and like two teams that are vying for, you know, playoff position. And then the other game was Jets and Dolphins, which I had more ramifications in my fantasy league. So I did actually watch some. And on occasion, I do like to watch really crappy teams just because it's like, I don't know why, but it's like you kind of rooting them on still.
It's still boxing. If you watch two 300-pound men or women fight each other versus 100-pound people or well-conditioned athletes, as long as they're evenly matched, it's still kind of fun. And sometimes when there are no stakes and you get to see someone be like a glimmer.
Yeah.
Like I was watching these two terrible teams, but this one guy had some really great catches or tackles or whatever. So I do that too. But man, that Saints game, I was at the Niners game that they lost to Seattle. Backup kicker who, you know, misses a kick at the end, and then they mismanaged the clock a little bit to play for a tie, which I didn't care about that. I liked that they were aggressive, and then it just didn't work out. But as I was watching the Saints game, I was like, you know, they lost to Baltimore. Kind of the same thing. They had a tough kick that got tipped at the line that they missed. And a few things here or there that were a little questionable in that game. But overall, just a very competitive game in Baltimore on the road, early kickoff, West Coast teams going to the East. There is a physiological thing involved there. If you just look at the data over time, the league should step in and be like, this is clearly an advantage.
Absolutely.
So for your team, meaning my team, the San Francisco 49ers, to go that far, lose by 3 in a mud fest.
And that's the team now, too, that like a lot of people are now saying Baltimore is the runaway team. And so you guys are right there.
I mean, prior to that, the way they leveled the Rams, it did feel like, man, if they can keep it within 10, they're pretty good. And the fact that they had a chance to win it felt like, oh, I like this team. I really believe in them. And then, so watching the Saints game, just all these different emotions. When I was at the stadium for the Seahawks game, my friend that I was with was like, if nothing else, this is a really fun game to watch. Yeah. And I was like, you want to just go, yeah, of course. But then there's another part of you that's like, they have to win. Yeah. When you've paid money and you're in the stadium, it's just so much more enjoyable to walk out of there looking at the other fans walk away, as opposed to them kind of smiling and you're just like, don't look at me. Don't make eye contact. I hate you right now. And so, but I was thinking like, yes, this is a good game, but if they lose this one, I was kind of in my head going, you know, that's 7 total points they would have lost 3 games by.
Right.
And the way that it came down at the end where Breeze and them score a touchdown to go up 1, prior to that, the Niners really had a chance, and they had to punt the ball away. They had it in like the 35-yard line, and they'd been just cramming it down their throats, just running it. And I was like, yes, this is how you want to do it. Just keep running it, run the clock out, kick a field goal, go up by 5 with 10 seconds left, walk off. And then Shanahan did call a pass play that was very similar to what took them out of field goal range in the Super Bowl when they had that huge lead,
right?
Which was like, we're going to run play action, leave a guy on the blind side unblocked, and hope that he bites that we're running it. and he just instantly gets sacked for an 8-yard loss. And watching that, I was like, I keep having to remind myself, he's a young coach. He's learning, even though he's in his 3rd year. That's Belichick and them. There are very few coaches that have that tenure. Him, Pete Carroll, Tomlin. That's about it. Everyone else hasn't been around as long, except your guy.
Marvin Lewis was.
Marvin Lewis and
recently.
Garrett and Marvin Lewis were the same guy. 2 guys that everyone went, why are they still coaching? And I think it was because the organization saw that. They went like, if you have more experience, at some point it's going to be beneficial.
Right.
Whereas Shanahan has all the cleverness on offense, but lacks that ability to manage the game maybe. And then they get redemption. They get 51 seconds back. And damn it, if he didn't learn a thing or two about head coaching, managed the clock perfectly, drove him down there, wins the game like a pro.
Yeah.
Now, that was so uplifting as a fan because I was kind of settling into this year going, look, this is a big step. Even if they drop to the wild card and even if they go and lose on the road somewhere as a wild card, which still could happen, I would take it as a win. This team learned a lot. They saw all these things that they'll see again, and now they'll know how to overcome them. And now I feel like they've already started overcoming some of them, and Shanahan's really settling into being kind of a grizzled old head coach at the tender age of 40. So I'm psyched. I think it's a fun year.
It sounds like you're on the better side of it than the last time where, they were still winning, but you were still like, well, let's wait and see a little bit. But now you've played, Baltimore and Saints.
The gauntlet. No team has ever played 3 games in a row with a higher winning percentage than they just did. And they went 2-1, and the game they lost was by 3 points on the road, East Coast.
I mean, that's like already being in the playoffs, before they start. So that's getting some grit.
Yeah, that'll grit them up. Those fellas are grizzled. And I was thinking, all right, so say they have to go week 17 to Seattle. That will be a playoff game, but it's so great because it gives them a mulligan. If they go up there, the crowd noise is too much, maybe they have injuries or something, and they lose, they will likely still be in the playoffs.
Right.
So then they get to have a pregame speech. It's like, this is a playoffs, gentlemen. Win and go home. And then if they lose, I was just kidding. You don't have to go home. Let's boot it up again. But they'll really have – I felt like that Saints game was very much a playoff game.
Yeah.
And they really
that felt like it. So before we jump into all the worst takes from around the league from idiots like Skip Bayless and whatnot, good Lord, that is some good scotch.
Oh, yeah.
David
Glad you
poured me
like
some
it.
Scotch.
Baldini.
Wow, it's so tasty.
Yeah. I saw you wince a little bit, and I was like, I don't know if that's a good sign.
No. It's I think anything straight sometimes that first first little sip is weird, but it's got this taste that like stays with you. It's nice.
Yeah.
But I always throw out a story with my guests. Last time we did a joint story. Forgot to go over this with you beforehand, but if there's one that pops in your head you want to share, that's a joint story. If not, I've got a story I can throw out there. Just a goofy random one.
A joint story of you and I?
Yeah, back in the day, getting started doing comedy together back in Austin.
Yeah. We've told the mayonnaise one.
Yeah, our mayonnaise eating contest that went south.
I think we told the one where we went to the bachelor party, and then when everyone went home, we decided to try to walk.
We have not done that one.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think.
That's a great one in my eyes, just because I was so stupid, and I was convinced, like, we'll just feel it out by the stars. We'll figure out, we'll ask people.
Yeah, so our buddy Moose, who listens, we'll probably reference him a couple times this story.
Yo, Moose.
He, I guess, it was the night before the wedding.
Mm-hmm. Weird time. It wasn't a bachelor party. It was like a rehearsal dinner.
Oh, right, yeah.
But it seemed like everyone was going to hang out. We went to a bar and threw some darts, and then it maybe in Houston. So we're West Coast guys, so it was still early to us.
Yeah.
Everyone else, though, was kind of around that area or Colorado or further west, it seemed like. And at 11, a lot of them were having kids and stuff at the time, so maybe they were just businessmen who were tired. But we decided, well, this is crazy. You guys are going to bed? It's like 10:30. We're going to do something. We were so broke. We didn't really know what or how we were going to do it, but we thought it would just be fun to walk around, try to walk our way home. We were like, getting here wasn't that long. It's probably only 4 miles. I think we can walk 4 miles or hitchhike or meet some cool strangers.
Yeah, and it's let's note that, we were broke, so there's that, but also this is probably pre-Uber.
Pre-Lyft and Uber. So this was us a cab would have maybe been $25
Yeah.
or something, where you're like, that's not an option.
Right.
So once we passed up on the final car, like, heading back, anyone coming with us? And that sense of fear, very few future generations will have to feel,
Right.
of like watching the final boat sail off an island, and you're just convinced, I'll chop down some trees and figure it out.
So,
I'll get home.
After 80 drinks.
And then the first place we walked, remember that guy was like, hey, want to go to a speakeasy bar? And we were like,
Was that the first place? We kept drinking at the place that we started at, I think.
okay.
And then, we ran into a person that said they knew of a speakeasy.
So there was a man was shot out front in the old time, and it stayed the same. It's like a saloon. You can still see where they used to hitch up horses. Go down there. So we went there, and it seemed like everyone we were asking, and maybe even gave us a code word. Maybe it was just messing with us, because no one was hipping us to this like secret door to get to this speakeasy after hours bar. So we kind of left with really deflated. This whole story, mind you, ends with, it's not like we found some cool underground amazing
No.
hangout.
But we still ended up, we were pretty boozed up. And then I remember, I don't know at what point, we found some fluorescent long lights.
Oh, that was way later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, prior to that, I believe, maybe I have the timeline wrong, but I remember we started walking, and you kept, like, I'd see you reach in your pocket to grab your phone, because Google Maps at least existed then.
Right.
And you'd grab, and I go, no, Dougie, we're just going to figure it out. And you'd be like, okay, are you sure we're going in the right direction? And I was like, I don't know, what this feels, we needed to go southwest. I remember that. We needed to go kind of south and west. I was like, this feels right, doesn't it? And then finally.
By the way, we're in the wedding. We're in the ceremony.
Which is, the rehearsal for the wedding was not at that rehearsal dinner. There was a walkthrough at like 8 or 9
Yeah, we were
a.m.
supposed to be up at 6, I think.
Yeah.
Something like that.
And Fiona, the bride-to-be at the time.
We were staying with them.
We're staying in their home, and we're these deadbeat comedians sleeping on their couches, or couch singular / and then the floor. And she had made all these wonderful pies and cakes, and really, she wasn't like a bridezilla, but she had put a lot of time and care into this. So we had a lot of respect for that. We weren't just like, oh, she's busy picking out the color of the doilies.
Oh, and that was the one thing Moose was like, as long as you get back, he really, let us know.
Right. And it's really pushing on toward, the bars are definitely closed. You look at your phone and go, we're going in diametrically the exact opposite direction. And we've been walking a while. And then it started raining. And we were walking along in the rain, and I remember I took off my shirt, and you go, what are you doing? And I balled it up in my hands. And you go, what is that? I'm like, when the rain stops, my shirt won't be wet. And then you went, good idea.
So two shirtless drunk guys.
Walking along as if they're holding some sort of secret. With his shirts pressed between their hands, just walking along down the street. And then we hear revelry. Remember? We heard like a house, and it was in a cool, old feeling district or neighborhood of Houston, houses with porches, and it felt like, it's kind of a gypsy scene. There were people out. That was a dry vomit sound from a dog.
His dog Cobra, I thought he diarrheaed right in front of us.
No, he just almost barfed and then kept it together. So we walk, we round the corner, we see where the house is. There are people sitting out on a porch, and we are like, yes, our adventure has at least one checkpoint, and we've made it to a checkpoint. We put our shirts on. Yeah, there'll probably be booze, people that'll be excited to see us.
And we might get a ride home. I think we had already decided we were going to, if not ask them, strongly hint that we needed a ride home.
Which we did.
Yes, absolutely.
But we also made the mistake.
Soaked.
We got there, the main girl was a burlesque dancer.
Yep.
So it was a fun exactly what we're looking for.
Yeah.
We're the counterculture. We're up late. We're drinking gin on the porch. We're recounting our show or activities we just had. What are you guys up to? We go, the same. We're like you. We're night creatures. They give us some gin. This checkpoint's going great. But we make the mistake of saying the sort of adventure we're on.
Right.
Oh, we just decided we'd see how it would work out. And we should have really laid it on thick. certainly would love to find a ride home. Because once they started dispersing, the person, a couple of them who drove went, well, I'm headed out. And I remember you and I just like,
And
he was just like, and good luck to you guys, and took off, and we were like, oh shit. And then we kept, remember the next thing we walked to was the train.
The train, yeah.
And then we kept running to try to, we were just going to take the train. We were going to jump on the train and just ride it.
Yeah, we were going to, oh man. I remember getting very excited and very nervous. It's like, this is definitely how a lot of people die. 20
miles an hour is about as fast as a human being in like track shoes can run. Maybe 22, 23. Yeah. So 20 doesn't look fast at all. You watch it going by and it's just like, and I don't know if those sounds gave the listener any idea of speed.
Oh, I think so.
Yeah, it gave like a Doppler kind of. So we keep like kind of reaching our arms out. Like that's way too fast if we just grab this metal.
Oh, it's going to yank our arm out.
It's going to yank the shit out of us. But we keep putting our arms out like, what if we just lean into it? But we can't commit to that. Like that's too tough. We go on and the train just seemed to be going by forever.
Yeah.
And then we have this genius idea. Let's wait till the end of it. And we'll chase down the caboose.
Yep.
We'll get on the tracks and we'll sprint. So we're just kind of standing there shooting the shit. The train is the longest train that's ever existed. And we look over and there's a dead dog.
Oh, yeah.
And then we're both bummed out. We say some nice words. And then I decide, the owner, for whatever reason, if they find it, or I thought other animals were going to come and haul the dog away.
Yeah.
So the owner would want to know what happened. So I decided it would be best if we took the collar off of it, hung it on a fence, which we did, which was disgusting. And then it only just made me so sad at my ideas and sad for the person that came, saw the dog laying there, and then looked over and like, who put the fucking collar on the fence over there? Why did they think that would help us? At that time, you and I thought that'd be a cool move. It'd be very sensitive to this tragic situation.
So where do the lights come in?
So then the caboose is coming, and now we're gearing up. We're stretching. You're wearing like slick-soled cowboy boots.
Oh, God, yeah.
And we're both like, all right, here we go. Let's just... But as the train passes, we hadn't taken in and noticed that underneath, you think it's just dirt, railroad ties, the tracks.
Right.
But it was 4 to 5 inch diameter, irregularly jagged stones.
Right.
So it's just giant chunks of gravel, impossible to run on.
Yeah.
So the caboose happens and we both just take off, which, if anyone had video of that, would have been the saddest thing.
And we're both super fast.
We're not fast. And we're both kind of going, ow, oh. And then you, to your credit, went, fuck this, and just did some sprinting in your boots, and we're getting there. And I was like, you can do it, Dougie. Do it. It was like in a movie where you were just getting to the edge of it, just getting up there. So it must have been 12, not even 20 miles an hour, like 12 miles an hour. And you get up to it, and then it just jetted away, and you didn't come. And I realized at that point, well, that would have really thrown off our adventure if you
just me.
Just see you waving, disappear. And the train was going in the direction we had initially been walking in. So it made no sense that we were going to try to get on it and go one town over.
Because then where do you jump off? And then if you're in the wrong place, could have gone 10 miles in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
We're in a much worse position. We got to call Moose a couple hours later. Like, hey, buddy, you got to come get us.
So luckily, the train didn't work out. We start walking, and then it was just a long walk. It was just neighborhood after neighborhood. Not a lot of passing cars, not a lot of people checking through their windows. It was quiet. And then we were in like an abandoned kind of industrial part, and that's when we found all those
those fluorescent
tubes.
Yeah.
Discarded fluorescent tubes, which we didn't lightsaber with, we just did cool like bow staff kind of twirls and cool karate moves.
We were shattering one after another.
Oh yeah,
there's that powder in there that can like get in your lungs and kill you. Like
just a
so
complete
dumb.
recipe for cancer.
Yeah,
Just like let's smash some asbestos into our faces, and we smash. But it looks awesome.
Yeah,
when you smash them, it's really fun.
What was the thing that you said before you smashed one? I got video of it somewhere. You're like,
oh, I don't know, except
smash.
Made no sense, but real fun to say.
And then eventually we just got back to like a nice, like a really nice neighborhood in Houston. And when we were there was like a security car that walked by or that drove by, and they kind of checked us out. Or did we
flagged him down. And then he was so nervous.
Yeah.
And we're both pretty clean cut. We don't have face tattoos. We don't have weapons. I don't think we're dressed. We'd been at a rehearsal dinner, so we're dressed like people who could live in that neighborhood. And still, I think he could just sense these guys don't belong here.
Well,
So
we're wasted at 4 a.m. or whatever.
I don't think we were drunk by that point.
Yeah,
we had
not. We
walked
probably
for
ran
so
it up.
long. It was like 4 or 5 in the morning at this point. So our adventure had basically been the gypsies, the train, and then hours of walking.
Right.
And just feeling like, okay, this Buffalo Speedway, Moose lives near that. So we're on the right track. Let's just follow that kind of directional
Did he
behavior.
pat us down, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he patted us
He had
down.
a partner come and shine his lights on us.
Oh, right.
Patted us down in the headlights, which that made our adventure seem so stupid.
Yeah.
Like, there's a grown man patting me real near my thighs. This isn't cool.
Yeah.
This isn't a cool experience at all.
But I was so excited to get a ride. I was like, whatever you got to do.
Yeah.
And I get that, like, it is weird that we're just wandering around at that hour
Yeah.
in this nice neighborhood. So,
And you would think if you're driving around and that's your job, because he wasn't old. He was a dude probably in his early 30s.
right.
And you would think he'd be like, oh, this is great. I finally have something happening.
yeah.
There's nothing. This is the richest neighborhood in Houston. I just drive around and nothing. I see raccoons. That's about it.
Yeah.
And then this happens and he goes, all right. And then we tell him our story and he was just like disgusted. So you did what?
Man, I don't remember that part.
He just hated us. And then he had his partner tail us the whole way.
Oh, right.
As if we were going to like cut his throat and take his security car. And he tailed us all the way back. And then I think we knew where we were going. He drove us pretty close.
Yeah.
And we got there.
Yeah, and we got there. And then the funniest part to me, though, we get maybe 2 hours of sleep.
Oh,
maybe.
yeah. That I feel like it was like an hour and a half.
And then we were the first ones at the ceremony. We were
Yeah.
ready to go.
And not that bad a shape.
No, we were probably still drunk. So, well, no, you're right, though. We probably walked it off. But I think we were, I don't know. There's something about a wedding and like that extra, I don't know. I think we had that adventure in us. And
Yeah.
I don't know. It fueled us for the night. And yeah, we partied till late that night and went nuts that night. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
I don't feel like we told enough people because that would have been a kind of fun story to circulate around a wedding.
Right.
You know, you like a wedding where hey, did you hear what happened last night? Those are fun. And everyone goes, really? Then you become like a quest that people at the wedding have to find.
Right.
They got to run into you. Hey, have you heard about these guys? Oh, that was us. We found you. You did that? My favorite part of that wedding was after the fact when we drove home. The Point Break rundown that I gave was pretty spot on.
Yep.
I was really going on and on about birds for a long time while we were driving. And then
remember
you
that.
sent me a text from the back seat and I read it and it just said, shut up. And then in the trunk of that car, we had some of the leftover cakes that Fiona had
God,
made.
those cheesecakes.
They were
Good
amazing,
Lord.
but they rode in the trunk.
And we
in
still ate them
Texas.
for like a week later because they were that good. Where it's like, man, I'm maybe gonna get sick, but these
We
are
did get
so
sick.
goddamn. Yeah, we did.
We'd come home from South by Southwest, eat cheesecake, feel terrible, and go, oh, and then go out the next night, do the exact same thing.
I would do it again if
I
those were in
wouldn't-
front of me.
Every night we'd open the refrigerator and go, that felt pretty bad. And then just go, but remember how good it tasted?
Yep. Oh. Well, the opposite of that, we're gonna get into Skip Bayless, who his takes taste like shit every week. How's that for a transition?
Whoa,
Oh boy!
What are you, Pat Sajak?
Yeah. Oh man, we got some fun stuff to get into. My Cowboys they're not It's not going like your Niners season. I'll just say that.
It reminds me of the heated NFC West race, the Singletary year, when they desperately wanted to fire him, but for whatever reason, they just kept hanging in there. And even when they were 0-5 and not out of the playoffs, they were 2-7. They were not out of the playoffs, and then Seattle won it that year at 7-9. And every now and again that happens, and it's so frustrating because everyone clearly could see Singletary doesn't have it. We thought he did.
Yeah.
Man, they went 8-8. It seemed like he was going to bring him back. The moment they were mathematically eliminated, he was fired. And I would imagine that's what they're waiting to do, even in spite of them saying he won't be fired midseason. I think everyone is so fed up with Jason Garrett. They come out and lay an egg.
I don't know. I think Jerry Jones loves him so much that he'll at least give him the season.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous. Get a head start on the coaching. It sounds like rumors are they're already doing their searching. Which
Urban
is
Meyer, right?
Yeah, Urban Meyer. I heard Lincoln Riley today. But yeah, it was funny with the game. I was just telling you beforehand, I was in Tacoma doing shows, and I see Dak Prescott score on the first drive, and I'm like, holy shit, for the first time it feels like all season, Dak is coming out hot. But then the Bears marched down with Trubisky, and I'm like, oh, great. And then, but was still like at halftime, I think it was still competitive. And then I go up on stage. We're still in it, but it's like, I wasn't able to watch as much as I wanted because I was like getting ready and running around and getting ready for the shows. And then at the club, I couldn't get the TV on. So I'm like watching a little bit on my phone, and then I get up on stage, I do my set, I get off stage, it's out of hand, we're done. And like I have all these missed texts from people like, what the fuck is going on with the Cowboys? But I will say once again, the Cowboys losing for me isn't that bad because that means Skip is in a lot of pain. So that's been the fun flip side, because I get to see him backtrack a bunch, and he's just like, it's ridiculous. It's just slowly going back on everything he said. But I don't know. He owns up to some of it. I got to give him a little credit. He was a little bit realistic and reacting the next day.
The best element, I think, of this show, though, is that no one has ever held him accountable.
Yeah.
So having really chronicle his
the hindsight and like the foresight as well. Like it's I really get to lay it on him. Like last week was fun in that way. We're getting into the peak of it where he's been building up the Cowboys so well all season, pumping them up, and now here we are. They're falling apart. So now I get to just really rip apart. I've got some good quotes coming up. But he did say he was realistic to a very small degree, but then, of course, goes right back to his usual insanity. He did pick Dallas. Shannon picked Chicago. But he did say that he thought he didn't feel great about the pick, and he wouldn't be surprised if it was a debacle, which he's hedging his bet as usual. But get ready for this joke, okay? You know he's really good with his humor. Skip Bayless had a very, very clever joke. He said, his Cowboys have now turned into his Owlboys. Oh, man. Did you get that burn? Did you get it?
That's one of those jokes that gets me so deep that it's like a cut that doesn't bleed for a moment. You're like, whoa, that's a good one.
There's a few more of those this week. But he said he hasn't given up. No, he said he has given up, but here's a team that everyone says is the most talented team on paper, but they don't play the game on the paper. But he's the one that says they're the most talented team. And I actually, our buddy Moose, who we mentioned earlier, I was arguing with him about, like, if you look at the lineup, both sides of the offense and defense, we've got a lot of like first rounders that have played very well at various times, but they're just not. There's no motivation, or it's sad. I don't. But
I don't know if this is because I hate the Cowboys just so aggressively, but there is something about, as I don't remember hating. I hated Bill Parcells because I thought that was just a weird move of, it's like dating someone's ex. Get your own guy. Go get a cast off. Jimmy Johnson, I hated, but in a way where I was like, they're so good and I hate him, and he seems like a used car salesman. But Jason Garrett, whether he's getting the piss taken out of him, whether he's talking after a win, whether they've just been blown out, there is something about the way that he speaks that I just feel like I wouldn't follow him into a storm shelter during a tornado. If he was like, here, my farm, we have one underground, I'd go, there's something about you, man. I can't imagine a group of young guys, like just different culturally, different energy, everything. Right. And he's as uncool as you could possibly be.
Yeah.
And that's kind of fun to see about Shanahan. It seems like the dudes like him. Even though, he's a coach, he talks like a coach. It's not like he's...
Garrett never yells. Like, you need a coach to get in your face.
You need
horrible.
something that he doesn't have. When you have that it factor, he's got the opposite of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, the 100% opposite. Skip also said he has tried everything to unjinx the Cowboys. And that he's out of jinx breakers. He's tried new socks, hats, shirts, everything. And he may watch in his birthday suit, which is a thing that should never be said. No one wants to think about you. He probably, because he posts all this picture on Instagram of him shirtless and stuff. Last week, I talked about it. He posted pictures of him. The LA Clippers sent him a jersey. And not one, but two posts in that same jersey, one from the front, one from behind, him flexing. It's so weird. But maybe he just threw out the birthday suit to, like, get that vibe out there for everyone, even though the whole thing's weird.
I love when he's just making the season as bad as it can be.
Yeah.
That was a bad season. Was that the one where Skip watched naked? Yeah, that was the worst season we've ever had. He live streamed it, right? Of course he did.
But this is where it gets great is, him picking and then what happens. It doesn't go well. Cut to the next day. God, he's all over the place the last few days. He said he can't fight back at this point. Like, they're just terrible. But then he goes on to say it's not over. So, again, hedging in every direction because Philly sucks as well, which is a weird brag that, like, hey, we're still in first place. He just texted that after Philly just lost on Monday Night Football, or just won, but he's like, we're still in first place. We'll have the last laugh, and Shannon will look stupid. He said that on air. Will he really look stupid? I guess because he says the Cowboys won't go to the playoffs. So, like, but even if we squeak into the playoffs, it's not much of a brag you can make. Like, I don't think. Oh, he also built up Trubisky a little bit, to like making him look good after he's not. People are saying he's done in Chicago, and he's trying to like build him up so it looks like. And he even picked Buffalo to beat Baltimore this week, which I think Buffalo's good enough, but he picked them because he wants every which way to make the Cowboys like. They got beat by this team that could beat Baltimore. And Mitchell Trubisky, no, he's not bad. He's a great quarterback. Like, it's sad.
I love when people do that where they'll say, especially in a tweet form, you can see it written. See, it's a glimpse into their thoughts where, like, they beat the, all caps, Mitchell Trubisky.
Yeah.
And they mean it wholeheartedly. You're like, oh, that's so sad.
He's been holding on to... Last year, after we got Cooper, after we were destroyed by the Titans, they kind of went on a run, and he keeps talking about like, I can't wait for the most talented team to take off, flip the switch like last year. Teams can go on a roll and get in the playoffs, which like the Giants did it. Like it happens, but I don't think this is that team at all. Like I'm not. I think he's just holding on to last year, and it's like, I don't think. 2 years in a row thing and last year it didn't end well either,
Yeah.
But he mostly said he's lost confidence and that we can't beat anyone. But then in the next segment, he said he wasn't impressed by Seattle in their previous Monday night win against Minnesota. And then he said, Shannon mentioned, well, we're probably the Cowboys are going to get San Francisco, Seattle, or Green Bay in the playoffs. And so Skip has just said that he's pretty much given up on the Cowboys. He said that we can't beat anyone. It looks like we've lost all our confidence. And then once Shannon presented that we're probably going to get San Francisco, Seattle, or Green Bay, Skip said he's not afraid of any of them and bring it on. Because his team has nuclear capability that's ready to take off despite their inability to beat a 500 team. Like, what the fuck? This is the beauty of the podcast. It's like he said this, and then that doesn't make any fucking sense.
Is there a part of you that feels like you could shake him by the lapels and then he'd come to reality?
What do you mean? Like, talk some sense into him about any of this?
That he would ever shake his head and go, God, you're right.
My hope is that he's gonna eventually he will find out about this podcast, and when he does, because he has such a crazy ego,
Binge it.
he's gonna binge every like if he hates LeBron James so much that he watches every game. His
Yeah.
wife says the same thing. He never misses a dribble from LeBron because he hates him.
Yeah.
If there's someone talking shit about him like he does about LeBron and Aaron Rodgers, he is going to listen to every second. And it's going to hurt.
Jeez.
But it's funny, like the way I've been after shows lately, like I promote the podcast and like, hey, who out there, sports fans, a lot of people cheer. Who here hates Skip Bayless? Every one of those sports fans just, yeah. And then people come up to me like, oh my God, when you said that you've got a podcast that rips on Skip Bayless, I was all in. So it's so funny because on his Twitter, he has all these followers, but it's all people that don't like him. So yeah. So you asked me like, can you shake him? I think maybe this could be an eye opener if he just goes down and is like, this is how I'm seen.
Yeah.
By the world? Like, oh boy.
We've all had a friend like this in life that is really ugly or not particularly bright or very average looking. I know someone like this. She was, average looking.
What if you're just like, his name's Doug?
And she would talk so openly about like all the guys have crushes on me and they just all want to get with me. And every now and again, someone would maybe say something that just kind of relayed to her that that's not how people think about you.
Right.
Or behind her back, if people were talking, there'd be a sobering moment where you'd go, this feels so mean. That's so sad, and I feel really mean. And then a millisecond later, she might come in the room and be like, I'm so sick of being this attractive. Something like
Oh
that. Something
my
that
God.
over the top,
Yeah.
where we'd all go, oh, we have an open channel to make fun of her because that is such a hateable quality, and she's blind to any reason. And that feels exactly how Skip is, where you can just shit on him nonstop because there wouldn't be a sad puppy dog look where you go, all my followers hate me.
Right.
He'd go, no, they love me. Instantly. There would be no moment for him to go, God, and then just slowly take off his headphones and slink away.
Yeah, no, he'll never be wrong. He'll listen to this and like, this isn't what they think. Oh, everybody loves me. And he'd probably talk to his wife about it a lot, and that would be that. Just like, I'm right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not crazy.
And you get certain metrics. I mean, his bank account, I'm sure, is so healthy that to him is a barometer or a measure. The Twitter followers, even if they all hate him, is a number he can quantitatively look at and go, yeah, people love me. I'm great. I'm doing great. I'm winning all these arguments. People love me.
Oh, I can't wait to show you something later. Oh, boy. We're getting to it. On the subject of Dak Prescott, Shannon brought up, this was today, I believe. Shannon brought up sarcastically that Skip had nothing to worry about with his Cowboys because he has Dak, who, according to Skip, is playing at an MVP level. And Skip said, I never said that. Flashback. Immediately I was like, there's no way he didn't say that.
Yeah.
And this is, again, the beauty of the podcast. I looked it up. I found immediately at least two things. November 18th, flashback. I am here to make the case that Dak belongs in the MVP conversation. 2 days later, MVP is a three-way race between Dak, Wilson, and Lamar. He also said he would take Dak over Russell Wilson, and that Dak is a top 5 quarterback, and he could make the case he's a top 1 to 2 quarterback. My, how the times are changing. And now he's already backtracking to like, I never said he was the MVP. He does keep saying Dak is the only thing that's right about the Cowboys, which to me is fucking crazy. Dak drives me nuts. I like, he's gritty. I feel like the guys like him. The guys follow him. He's trying his best, but he is, and he's improved for sure, but he's a 4th round pick, and it definitely shows sometimes. And I think if you put a lot of other quarterbacks and a better coach on the team, we could be doing something better. Jason Whitlock, the guy you've been around before, on the subject of Dak, is down to saying, regressing to saying, Dak is not a franchise quarterback. He is the black Andy Dalton.
Ooh.
This is after the first several weeks when we were beating teams like the Dolphins. He was giving he was giving Jerry Jones shit about not giving Dak a blank check, and now he's down to saying he's the black Andy Dalton. Just all these guys just regressing. It's like, I think Colin Cowherd has changed his tune like 4 times in the season about Dak. Dak's the worst. Dak's the best. Dak's the best. He's the worst. I love watching, like, they have to throw these big takes out there, and then they look so fucking dumb when it comes back to haunt him. And of course, his other love, the Patriots, are not doing well. Where do you stand on Tom Brady and the fall? If it's coming, is it here? Do you think his age is catching up?
It definitely looks like it.
Yeah, I mean, so.
one or two times a game. The weird thing is he's like an old athlete, exactly like any animal. If you have a horse that's older, like they can still do the work, but you gotta like lope them in circles for a while and kind of get them loosened up.
Right.
You know, you got an old dog, you like massage their legs and like, look, I can still fetch. But they don't just hop off the couch. You know, you gotta like, he has that where 1 or 2 times a game he'll make a throw that is painfully underthrown or wobbly, or he's so slow in the pocket. He's always been kind of slow, but it's the slowness coupled with, but he used to have a quick release. So one of the two would kick in.
Very afraid to get touched.
Yeah, and so I think that is a part of it.
You tune into any game too, like at least for a big part of it, he's hovering around at like 50%, which he was always so efficient.
Yeah, when they went from, they went the Randy Moss era. Prior to that, it was shifty slot guys, and then maybe it was a speed outside guy. It was Troy Brown in the middle. They've always kind of had someone there. The Wes Welker years,
right.
It was. I thought they were always one step ahead of the game. Like, everyone's doing a number 1 wide receiver, and we'll do a nobody on the outside, but we'll have a really great shifty slot guy. Everyone's catching on to that. We'll do 2 big tight ends. Everyone's catching on to that. We'll go back to this.
Yeah.
We'll have this guy. We'll have Edelman. We'll have
right.
And now they've, I think, tried to go the route that like the Green Bay Packers are doing, which is we use our running backs a lot. They'll be our receivers. So part of it, I think, is just the scheme where the last 5 years have been, we're never throwing down the field, but you're never going to guess what route combination we're doing inside of 5 or 10 yards.
Yeah.
So every fucking throw you would watch and be like, how is any DB even pretending that they're going to run further than 10 yards? Right. Play the hitch, play the out. Yeah. They're not going to run a fade, and he can't hit it if they do. And I think this year they are finally being like, all right, that's real.
Yeah.
This dude is not throwing deep outs, not throwing deep crosses, definitely not throwing fades or posts. So let's just camp on these short routes, and that's why you see the low percentage.
Yep. Well, don't tell Skip any of this. It's crazy how Skip's, all of his teams are always cheated or the other team got lucky. Right. And they did. I don't know if you saw.
Oh, fucking speaking of cheating. I mean, they've got a fucking film crew in the other team's press box.
Oh, man.
If there is any semblance of truth to this, and I would say there's already some smoke because Belichick said, I denied it categorically. Like, I don't have anything to do with the film crew. I'm too busy doing other shit. That says a lot because if he has nothing to do with something, he doesn't address it. Yeah. He will typically just go, I don't know anything about that.
Right.
Or just, next question.
Ooh,
we're on to this. The fact that he made a statement, to me, feeds into what I've said before, which is they're not only the best at winning, they are also the best at cheating.
Yep, absolutely.
They've only gotten caught however many times.
And I still, with Brady, like playing, and we're saying he's on the decline, but I will not. I just assume he is cheating to get to where his guy Alex Guerrero, whoever his Brady TB12 guy is. I assume that guy has some drug that's beyond,
like a Lance Armstrong thing.
Yeah. Like maybe we'll find out later, and then I just really want that to happen. But yeah, just assume
I think they should. If there's anything to this film crew, they'll play it off. Oh, we didn't know. You were filming the play sheet. You were filming calls of the fucking Bengals. If you can't go to Cincinnati and beat them,
did you see what? I mean, and this broke like right before I saw it right before I came over. Did you see kind of what they were, like the rumor that what it might be is like a segment for like the Patriots website or something?
Yeah.
But like they're still on that sideline with the cameras facing the Bengals.
No, they're in the press box.
Oh, wow.
So they were in where like all the coordinators and stuff are.
Yeah.
So when they're holding up their play sheets, there's a film crew behind them with a person in Patriots gear, and likely they were.
So couldn't that just be a fucking cover up to what?
Here's what drives me so crazy about it is that Bill Belichick was, I believe, the main person, like the chairman of the competition committee,
right, yeah.
that put out the idea, that put forth the idea, hey, we shouldn't be able to film each other's walkthroughs anymore.
Right.
And everyone went, that's a good idea. That's a little too much. And they went, okay, and they voted unanimously, I believe, or maybe a couple people abstained. But overall, every coach went, yeah, good idea. All right, this has been ratified. No more filming walkthroughs. That year is when they were caught doing it. Not accused of doing it, caught doing it.
Yeah.
So when they to me, they don't get any element of the benefit of the doubt with this situation being different. I think they look at it as kind of a Sun Tzu, get away with as much as you can, and if the refs don't call it, it's not a penalty.
Yeah.
And so they can say, we were filming a documentary. We were filming this thing for our website that's just supposed to show game day activity. What a clever way to think. What a clever way you guys have managed to do over and over again to stay a step ahead.
Bill Belichick's nephew was just doing Instagram stories on the sideline.
But they should vacate something from the annals of football if they're caught with this.
Yeah.
That's Kraft getting caught for hand jobs, Belichick getting caught, Brady getting caught for the deflated footballs, Spygate. It's too much. It's too much fucking cheating and
It's
being
so
bad
much.
people.
I don't know how. I'd love to have a New England fan on to talk to them about, like, how do you? Because if that were my team, it would be hard to defend.
When the Niners with Harbaugh were good and they kept getting arrested, DUIs, assault, battery, domestic violence, it was really tough.
Oh yeah, well, the Cowboys had Greg Hardy. God, that guy was a nightmare. And like even now, like that's why I'm a Cowboys fan. It's in my blood. It's Jerry Jones. Man, it's just such a fucking mess that it's like I'm a fan, but it's like it's not. It used to be heartbreaking with losses and stuff, and now it's just like, oh yeah, well we kind of deserve it. By the way, Penny and his dog Cobra are going nuts. If you can hear that in the background,
that's the scampering feet, claws,
they
and
are
whatnot.
really tearing it up. So, and I don't know if you did see it. There were a couple calls. They did get. Good Lord.
Skip, keep listening. This is part of it. This always happens.
So like they did have some rip-off calls, but at the same time, they're the Patriots, so fuck you. But
every game, you used all your challenges. So the refs made a shitty call.
They had, I think, 3 more drives to score. Like to me, there's very, very rarely an instance where definitively that ruined the game because you have the whole game. Yeah, and again, I think it always comes down to you could have played better and you had more chances, so fuck off. But the thing that Skip argues that, and I got in a mini debate with Moose again, our pal Moose, over text, and a few other people this week about this, but everybody's saying that, and you kind of touched on this a little bit, or you were talking about Troy Brown and those guys, but everybody just saying like, no, he's not. He's still playing well. He's not on the decline. He just has no weapons. That's what everybody says. But it's like, but his whole career, people have talked him up that like he doesn't need weapons. He made a start of Deion Branch, who was good but not fantastic. Troy Brown, all these like slot guy. Wes Welker like was great, but like I think he made him better.
I mean, the year he had a number 1 wide receiver, he threw 50 touchdown passes, which used to be unheard of. They went undefeated. I mean, he was definitely a phenomenal quarterback with great weapons.
Oh, yeah, I'm not. He's amazing, but I'm saying, he's now. You can't say, oh, he was so great. And I talked about this last week, but I didn't have anybody to like react to it. I did a solo episode, but you can't pump a guy up like Skip has his whole career that he doesn't need weapons, and now you're saying he's not playing as well because he doesn't have any weapons. It's like, well, but I thought he didn't need weapons. That's the whole thing. He's that good. It's just I think he's aging a little bit and it's starting to like now maybe he could use a couple better weapons. Edelman's not garbage.
No. I mean, N'Keal Harry, they traded a 2nd-round pick for Sanu. Trade a 2nd-round pick for an established guy. That means you're getting a high-caliber player.
Yeah.
That's a high pick to give away mid-season.
He has been trashing N'Keal Harry for the last several weeks. And then this week said, you only gave N'Keal Harry 2 snaps? What are you doing? Good Lord.
at the end of Manning's career, the same way that right now during like all the Trump stuff and whatever you feel about that. Although if you feel that there's this deep state that you're the equivalent of people that think Brady is still 27 years old. There's this feeling that people at the end of Manning's career, when your average objective person could watch and be like, oh man, he's slowing down. His arm is really giving out. There were diehard fans, not just of the Broncos or the Colts, but just of Manning in general, who were like, no, he's not. He's so great. He's going to always have it. And you go, no, hey man, it happens. It happens to everybody. He's
exactly.
lost.
Yeah. Like,
and that's what's happening right now, that Brady's still good, but he's probably, would you trade for Andy Dalton right now if you're the Patriots? Probably not. But the fact that you would even consider that is weird.
Well, and Skip's like, what are they going to get? Like, because they bet 20 cases of Diet Mountain Dew that Brady will not be playing on the Pats. Shannon thinks he will not be there. I'm starting to lean towards that way just because Belichick's so harsh with that stuff. Mm-hmm. And like you were just saying, if you would consider that next year, Cam Newton, all these guys are going to, like, it's going to be the biggest, like, spin the wheel kind of, like, off season for quarterbacks.
Well, that's why the Niners got Garoppolo. I mean, there was a very, maybe this is a conspiracy theory thing, but a lot of the reports were that, Brady was saying, hey, I told you guys I want to play till I'm 45. Why is Garoppolo still here?
Yeah.
And they were like, what? We need a solid backup. No. You have him like you're prepared for. And so they that's why Belichick kind of as a, almost not a fuck you to the organization, but kind of like, okay, tough guy, you think you're so great? We'll give this guy away for kind of nothing. They trade him for a second. You don't trade someone that you value that highly for a second round pick unless you're sending a message.
Right. By the way, got another sweet joke coming your way on this topic. Because, he, of course, says Brady's just killing it. It's everything else. It's the coaching, the job they're doing with they shouldn't have got Sanu, this and that. Their defense isn't as good as everybody thinks. So he went off on the defense, and oh man, just brace yourself for this one. He said about the Patriots D, they can rush the passer. Not. He dropped a not joke in there.
Hell yeah. Those are my thing, man. Love it. I love it.
Good Lord.
And going back to Owlboys, that's kind of a tougher nickname. The female of a bovine species is a cow. Male is a bull.
Yeah.
So just picture like a centaur, but cowboys.
Yeah.
Just the hybrid. It's not a very intimidating thing.
Right.
Whereas like the Owlboys are holding like brass knuckles and they've got some tough stuff. We're the Owlboys.
I love that you're ripping that down. Doesn't even need it. Real quick, Colin Cowherd at the beginning of the year, maybe preseason, Baker Mayfield kind of tore into him because Cowherd gave him some shit. Ever since then, every show he has to talk shit about Baker somewhere, but it's just such a petty thing where the whole thing is he says Baker's immature, but he's never let that go, where it's like he's got to be 60-ish, approaching 60, and like can't let this little tiny thing go. But he was talking about Lamar Jackson and got in a dig at Baker. Same show talking about Lincoln Riley. Took a dig at Baker. He's like, he made Baker Mayfield a star. Like, it's just this weird throughout his whole show. It's the Bash Baker Mayfield show. And I don't love Baker, so I don't really mind it, but just think it's kind of petty, a little shitty. We did this a little bit last time, but I want to get into Skip's wife's book, Ernestine Bayless.
Hell yeah.
Some funny, I thought I had found all the gold in there. But it turns out it's everywhere.
Only like 140 pages, right?
And, but I found like there's a whole chapter on picking attractive guys to root for while you're watching your fella's game because, you might be bored, but so you just got to find.
I just picture Skip standing up and being like, yes, first touchdown of his career, 6th round pick. I told you in training camp he was going to be great. And her just blindly looking up and going, I'd fuck him.
Yeah. Here's a line out of that chapter. He appreciates, she's talking about the Spurs here. He appreciates that they play basketball the right way. Meanwhile, I appreciate their great bodies and good looks. What a weird
Ernestine, tone it
book.
down.
Yeah, the whole book is Balls, how to keep your relationship alive when you live with a sports obsessed guy. It's so sad and weird, and it just keeps taking turns. Then there's a whole book, whole chapter on what to say or not say when his team loses. And she says there are no right or wrong words to say when his team loses, or worse, gets blown out and embarrassed. No matter what comes out of your mouth, it will end up like a dagger in his heart.
Yeah, that comic she drew.
Yeah, where their mouth is shut.
Yeah, the right thing to do.
She said, of course, I thought I was being sympathetic by saying, sorry about your game. Don't worry, there's always next time. To Skip, this was me showing no compassion. She said, next time does not count in a guy's life when it comes to losing. It is monumental. Sulking, pouting, and grimacing are common facial expressions after a loss. This just sounds like you're married to a very immature... if there's a huge game and your team loses, it sucks for a couple hours. And then I feel like I kind of move on at this point. Cause
I feel like I'm at a peak level, meaning... if there's a spectrum or, if this was a ratings thing on a video game,
right,
and the bar would be halfway with some people, meaning that, oh, yeah, who's the running back again? Okay, like you follow the team, you own a jersey. Everything good?
Yeah.
You follow the team, you have a jersey, but you don't know a lot.
Yeah.
And then there's the bar moves up a little bit when you know all the players, the running backs, the depth chart. But then it really gets high up there when you know the history of the team, guys that are on the practice squad and a lot about their whole history.
Yeah.
And you go, what am I doing? I'm a grown human. There's bigger things in the world. Why do I know this? And why when the coach calls a timeout or challenges something, do I instantly flash back to them doing that 4 seasons ago? This is just like the Pittsburgh game. Damn it. Do they never learn? That's just such a stupid level to exist at.
Yeah.
But to be higher than that, to be walking around grimacing after a game, it's a game. You're watching other people. That's ridiculous.
She also said he will beat himself up until exhaustion sets in emotionally and physically. She'll talk about how he doesn't eat. There are times when Skip says he needs to, in quotes, talk it out and go over what he thinks took place so I listen. In reality, he just needs an ear, and sometimes you have to be that ear. Man, he just turned 68.
Oh my God, it's the saddest life.
It's so sad. The next chapter, or 2 chapters later, and each chapter is about a page. It's about the game calendar, like marking, having your guy give you the next 3 months of games that they're going to be into, so you can have date nights.
I can say there are times when my partner will say, hey, do you want to go meet up with these people on Monday? And the Niners have a
yeah.
Have a
no,
game.
that happens for sure.
That's
I think everybody listening to this has that. But in that chapter, there's a part where he had like a few games to watch in a day, but she really wanted to go to a movie at like 3:20 or whatever. But in the back of her mind, like when they were racing back to the apartment so he could watch the game, she was like, oh God, what if there's a this or that happens? And she's like panicked. It's so scary and weird. And then she had to eat $300 tickets to Broadway one time because some team caught fire and he had to go watch the game. So they just let the tickets go to waste.
If we've learned nothing else about him, he never should have been a journalist.
Yeah. Yeah, he's not. And he brags on like how much game he watches and stuff. But for what? He has 4 opinions. Aaron Rodgers sucks. Tom Brady's good. The Cowboys are good. LeBron sucks. That's pretty much it. Like, what are you watching all this film for? Boy, this one gets real weird. Women at games is a chapter. It talks about how it's embarrassing for the women that go that wear like high heels and glitzy makeup and have their hair done. And they're like on their phones, like they don't really want to be there. Because it says not only are they embarrassing themselves, but they're a guy as well. When you commit to attend a game, do your best to be there. Not just physically, but mentally and emotionally.
Good Lord.
She sounds like she's in a cult.
Yeah.
Like, it's, dude, if my wife, Flynn, will get into like games with me, and she's not necessarily into it. But if she didn't care, like if she were at a game, like, She can be on her phone. I don't care if she's like, who
No
gives
one
a shit?
does.
No one.
No one. Why would any sane person? You're embarrassing me, honey. We're over at the Stevens' place.
Well, oh yeah.
They made this dip, damn it. Eat the dip and root for the team.
Check this out. She says, imagine if the roles were reversed. You invite your guy to an event, maybe a birthday party, dance performance, wine tasting, and the entire time you're there, he's on his phone with his friends or watching a game on his tablet. How would you feel? Well, that's completely different. A wine tasting versus
it would be more
a
like
sporting
The
event.
Bachelor. I feel like The Bachelor in a lot of ways, and this is a little bit generalizing, obviously. There are plenty of men that watch The Bachelor, but there have been many articles written about why do so many intelligent women watch The Bachelor? There's a psychological thing involved with it. And to my experience, a lot of women who do watch it are highly educated. There is something about it. There's the drama, there's the intrigue, a lot of the same things that sports provide, The Bachelor has. For a woman to expect a guy who's like a sports guy, like a Skip guy, to go to a viewing and sit there and pretend to give a shit is so asinine.
Right.
I feel it's the exact same way if your girl is not into sports.
She had to write a book on how to deal with it. That's crazy.
Imagine you're her friend and you call and go, hey, have you seen this preview for this Harriet Tubman movie? Do you want to go watch it? When? Well, I'm free Thursday at 7. Oh, the Spurs have a preseason game.
Preseason
What?
game.
The Spurs? Right.
Or worse yet, LeBron James is playing the Minnesota Timberwolves. Doesn't Skip hate LeBron James? Yeah. The Timberwolves, they don't even matter, right? Yeah. But yeah. He
we
hates them.
watch every dribble.
Yeah.
But you do too? I'm a good woman.
I'm a good wife. Get out of there. Run. Okay. So, and this, you clearly, I mean, I mentioned his age, but he did just have a birthday, apparently, I guess this past week. He's 68, so close to the cool age, 69. But,
oh my God. What are you going to do? 69th base and Skip turns 69?
oh, we got to have a big celebration. He's going to be the only guy where it's not cool that he's 69.
But there's got to be a name for it for this podcast.
Oh, for sure.
What is it?
I guess. Oof.
You should maybe run a poll online or something.
Oh, yeah. There
Get
we go.
people to
Yeah,
name
guys,
it.
shout at us. Let me know what you think.
What's a
the
good
celebration? So it's about a year from now. So
one year.
So think on it.
You'll be almost 60 episodes in or something like that at that point. Oh, man.
What?
Do a couple doubles so that episode 69 of this podcast is dropping on Skip's 69th birthday.
Oh, it could.
It's going to be very close, I would guess.
It's going to be, yeah. Even if I have to time out for 2 weeks or whichever way it falls, I will figure it out.
So name that day. What a day that'll be.
Oh, man. Guys, get ready. From a year from now.
The something. That's what I like it. The something and whatever something is. The skipping. That's what I'm just placeholdering it for now.
I see where you go with this.
Yeah.
But, and of course, we can see how mature he has become with each year. And now I've been so excited to share this with you. Skip on his Instagram, guys, you have to check this out. Again, don't follow him, but this is one of the funniest, saddest things I've ever seen in my life. And I sent this to our pal Moose because he was talking about the podcast a little bit, and he was like, dude, this guy baffles me. Like, he's become so fascinated now with Skip Bayless.
Moose, no. Don't get sucked in.
Do it. You're doing the right thing.
It's even more of a waste of time. Now imagine your wife on the phone going, I can't go. I've got to sit down and do a couple's listening of this podcast about Skip Bayless.
No, it's you're doing the right thing. So Skip posted on his Instagram. It's got 186,000 views right now.
Wow.
Ernestine went with me to a little gym near the Fox lot so I could get a few shots up. He's playing basketball. As we were leaving, I said, hang on. I'm going to make 10 straight free throws before we go. I didn't notice she started shooting this on her cell phone from behind me near half court. He definitely did. He definitely asked her, can you film this?
Yeah.
It was probably 3 hours of trying to get 10 in a row.
Here's 7. Clank.
Yeah.
Keep filming.
So I was rebounding my own shots, which obviously made it harder to keep retrieving, resetting my feet, and making another. He's building up how difficult this was.
Dude, hitting 10 free throws is difficult.
No,
However
it is. Yeah. I'm not taking anything away from that, but this is just also silly. On my 8th in a row, I did notice the clean swish weirdly popped the net over backward, and part of it caught on one of the back attachments. Listen to how long this is already. I have never seen this happen from the free throw line. Mostly the net pops up over on corner threes or maybe swing threes. So as I made
swing threes?
Yeah. So as I made my...
The hell is a swing three? How'd your game go?
Good question.
I had some corner threes, also some swing threes.
So as I made my 9th free throw, I was shocked to see the ball hang up in the net. Impossible. I couldn't do that again from the free throw line if you gave me a million attempts. I was so shook up, I turned dumbfounded to Ernestine, as you can see, and my first thought was the basketball gods did this to make sure I didn't make my 10 in a row and to protect what's left of LeBron's free throw reputation.
What?
I didn't even try the 10th. We left, and you can watch that now. And
You know what I would much, much prefer if this whole video was just him jumping feebly to try to knock it out of the net.
oh god, I thought about that. I was waiting for that. I was like, is he gonna go tap it? He knows he can't jump, and he always talks about how fucking killer shape he's in.
Man, his form and his jump shot is so sad.
It's real weird. I mean, he makes them.
Yeah.
He's
I guess if
efficient.
I'm 68 and I'm still shooting
Yeah,
like that,
that's
I'd
great
feel
for that
pretty good.
age. But good for him. But also, you're an adult. You're
Yeah.
a fucking. He could be a great grandfather. And
Oh, that form was pretty good. On the 9th one that hung in the net.
I love how.
But of course he knew she was filming because he turns right around to where she is.
Yeah, exactly. Or let's say for a second, let's humor him. He didn't know. He was looking to make sure, like, she checking this out. This is something I would do.
Well, and then each time he rebounds it, he walks back to the free throw
yeah,
line
so he sees
directly
her,
toward
yeah.
her. Yeah, he knows what's going on.
This
to
is
try
something-
to that's so sad to me to be lying. Oh, you were filming?
Yeah.
I'm 68.
This is something you do as a 6th grader.
Yeah.
Like, hey, Mom, can you film me? I got it. Yeah, trying to find Moose's reaction to this.
Doug, I'd love to challenge you with something as this podcast progresses.
Yeah.
I've now become deeply interested in the relationship Skip has and or had with his father.
Oh, yeah. You need me to look into that?
Yeah, because I think that
it's not
video
good.
says a lot about it.
Oh, yeah.
I think there's a desperate need for,
Wow,
hey, that a boy.
yeah.
Hey, good job, son. Hey, I'm proud of you, son.
Yeah. Oh, boy, that's why he's... Oof. I just
think
stopped the
you're
podcast.
You're going to get to it, but there's no doubt you're going to get to a point where all of it makes sense and you have to take all of your thumbtacks out of the wall and unwrap the string that connects all of them and the photos and the markers that writes on Post-it notes and bring it all down and put it in a banker's box. And you'll be tearing up a little bit and you'll look over and see a picture of Skip and be like, it all ties together and it's so sad.
Yeah, and he's probably doing this because Tom Brady is declining, so he's just like that's why he posted that. He's like, he's not aging, I'm not aging, none of us are aging.
You can keep going.
Oh boy, I was trying to find Moose's reaction, but Ernestine has to be made up. Nobody would go watch their husband play basketball by himself, then while leaving go, oh wait, he's shooting free throws? I need to not only stop and watch, but tape this as well. Oh God. Oh boy. A couple quick things from around the league that they weren't really discussed. We talked about the new Spygate. Did you see Odell Beckham's like already threatening to get the fuck out of town?
I mean, he's
Can't
one of
stand
those
that guy.
dudes I always gave the benefit of the doubt. And maybe I still should because
Yeah.
it seems like, but how much of anyone that's always saying it's the media, what has the media said about Jarvis Landry? Nothing.
Right.
So
yeah.
there are plenty of guys that have a pretty high profile that have played really well that don't seem to bring it around.
Yep.
The same. It's always don't wear the
And
watch.
his
Don't wear these
catches are
crazy.
down. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
I think he's just. And then we were talking about this a little bit before we came on. There's definitely some Steelers fans out there that listen to the podcast, and I was giving them shit early on. Now they have a better record than the Cowboys do. So guys, My bad.
And
also,
their quarterback is not a racist.
Yeah.
Or a rapist,
Rapist,
with the
yeah.
P. With the P.
Yeah, their current. But yeah, like, and I love Mike Tomlin, and we were talking about, man, if he gets any run in the playoffs, he should be coach of the year. Like, what
I had a
he's doing
thought when
is
we were
insane.
talking about that. It is amazing, and we were both saying like, oh, he should win coach of the year, even if they just win 10 games. Starting
Yeah.
0-3 is a nail in the coffin.
Well, now they're down to their third quarterback. That's crazy.
Yeah.
They don't have their like main running back. They have receivers out. Like Juju's out, I think. It's
no
nuts.
Bell, no Brown.
Yep.
I mean, the three Bs, the killer Bs.
And the craziest thing is, at the beginning of the year, a lot of these asshole analysts were saying Tomlin's run his course. This is it.
Yeah.
They were done with him, and it's like, hey, how do you look now?
And they
Like, oh,
traded for Minka Fitzpatrick, and everyone went, what a bunch of idiots.
Yeah.
They're going to end up with a really high draft pick that they're going to give to the Dolphins. And it turns out that was the piece they seem to have needed. He's returned, 2 touchdowns, 2
Yeah,
interceptions? I mean, he's
yeah.
played phenomenally.
Yep.
They're great. They're playing with their third-string quarterback. But here's the thought I had as to why maybe, and I don't know if it's the Associated Press or the coaches or who votes on Coach of the Year, but in a lot of ways it's the kiss of death unless you win a lot. Because if you just have a good season and kind of put it together,
Yeah.
you go 9-7, you go 10-6 or something like that. Then a couple years later, when you are 7-9 again, and the ownership has to look at it and go, do we really want to stay in this kind of mediocrity? And then you
Right.
get fired. And they go, wait, they were the coach of the year.
Yeah.
And yeah, what we wanted to see was trajection forward or up. Or trajection, is that a word? Trajectory?
Trajectory. Yeah.
Projection? Seems like it should be a word.
Sounds weird, right? Sounds weird.
But maybe that's why it would be dangerous if he won it this year, because he's
Yeah.
definitely due. He's such a good coach.
Yep.
He manages so much shit. And look at like what happened when Antonio Brown left.
God.
He just bounced in and out of organizations worse than a hot potato. He was like a radioactive
Yeah, and he was
Super
putting up
Bowl.
with that guy for a while. And although there was the Facebook Live thing,
Yeah.
there was definitely some shit in that locker room that just didn't get out because
Absolutely.
he kept it in house. But
Yeah.
gotta love that guy. Okay, of course we got to start a new rumor. My favorite part every week, start a new rumor about Skip Bayless. If you don't have one,
I do.
You got one? Do you want
Yeah.
to go first, or you want me to throw it
I
out there?
don't know that I want to tell mine because it's not. It's not. I mean, it's a truth. I don't want to float it out there in the world. But after we did the show last time, Ernestine's not that hard to get in touch with.
Yeah.
I looked on the book. I got, did some light Googling, and I just sent out like a general inquiry because I was I just was worried and I felt bad for her. And I just wanted to be like, are you okay?
Yeah.
And she wrote back. She was so nice. She's genuinely, if there's anything, if you get frustrated or hate Skip, you've got to know he's got some endearing qualities because he really does have a very caring, loving life partner. And she got back to me. And then I don't know if she had some Zinfandel or what was going on, but she was like, can I tell you something? And I was like, yeah, of course. And she was like, you can't share this with anyone. And here I am doing this. I let her know I had been on your podcast. So this is on her for telling me. But she was like, during the, whatever you would call it, the spat with Troy Aikman,
Yeah.
Skip got so mad, he got a tattoo on his scrotum.
Whoa.
So you can only see it. He has to lift up his penis and then like stretch it out like a bat wing, stretch out his scrotum. And then it's Troy Aikman's face looking up at where his penis would be. So obviously it's when it's erect, no one has to hold it out of the way.
Yeah.
But bat wings it, kind of stretches it. And then it's Troy Aikman on the scrotum, front facing,
Oh my
looking up
God.
like, oh, wow. And I shouldn't share that because she was
Oh
like,
my
it's deeply
God.
personal. She goes, the only reason I'm sharing it is he's kind of proud of it, and it is pretty funny.
Holy Lord. I can't believe that's a real thing, but
Right.
it is. And you heard it here first.
If you heard it with the
Yeah,
clattering of the toenails on
Yeah,
them.
the dogs are just going nuts. And that kind of dwarfs mine now, but mine was a quick one. I heard that, there's that old comedy trope about going back to if he could go back in time, he could kill baby Hitler. Well, he actually had access to technology where he could do that, and he was given that mission. I don't know why that was put in his hands. And then he went back, and he not only did he not do it, obviously, he just whispered in a baby Hitler's ear, "Double down with your hatred." And then he came back. And that was it. So it's crazy, guys. Hey, anything you want to plug before you get out of here?
Yeah, I'll be in Winnipeg, in Canada, at Rumors Comedy Club, January 14th through 18th.
Cool.
And then I desperately need a crowd, January 26th in Los Angeles at the Dynasty Typewriter. I'm filming it, and sounds asinine to say that you would need a full crowd, but some of it'll be kind of POV, and so it needs to look out over a crowd in a theater and see a full crowd. So you can go to davidhuntsberger.com. Dougie will be there. Some special guests, people that you know from film and television, perhaps. And I would love it if you were there. I need all the help and or support I can get. So if you live in Los Angeles or know people that do, please just tell
it's gonna be so fun.
one person. It'll be really fun. I'll be in a
David's
suit and
so
cutting
fucking
off.
funny. Check out all his albums and his podcast. And yeah, trying to think. I just totally spaced out.
There's that Belvini Scotch, man.
Oh yeah, God, it's good. I downed mine pretty fast. I've got. I just want to tell everybody. I've been talking about it forever, but the Burrito for President shirts are up online. You can find those. Just know that if you do buy one, you're just constantly going to be high-fived because people love them. So wear it proudly. And thanks. Oh, and as always, subscribe, rate, review. Takes 2 seconds. It helps a lot. So thanks for listening there, 69ers. Thanks, David, for being on. That was so fun.
Sure,
that was
buddy.
the best rumor I've ever heard. So excited. All right. Till next time. See you guys soon.